April 2016. A quiet Monday morning at Sekolah Chepa 1 in Kelantan, Malaysia. Students filed into their classrooms, the air thick with the usual grogginess of a new school week. Birds chirped outside, teachers marked attendance. And then, just as the first bell rang, a scream echoed from the second floor. High-pitched, piercing, it was followed by another and another. Chaos erupted. Something had arrived in that school, something unseen but deeply felt. To most, SMK Pangkalan Chepa 1 looks like any other government school. Faded yellow paint, rows of classrooms, a prayer room, a few trees in the back. But students know better. For years they whispered of strange things, of a shadowy woman seen near the old mango tree behind Block C, of the girl who fainted in the bathroom and transferred schools the next day, of the teachers who avoided late-night marking near the science labs, all dismissed as rumors. But the stories persisted, and fear, like mold, grew quietly between the bricks. Atira was 17 years old, preparing for her final exams. She was focused, modest, and rarely involved in gossip. She wore her uniform neatly, kept to her circle, and excelled in Islamic studies. But even she noticed the off things, classroom lights that flickered without wind, lockers creaking open on their own, that eerie cold spot near the second-floor girls' bathroom. She ignored them, until the day they refused to ignore her. During a short recess, Atira visited the girls' toilet alone. It was a familiar routine, but something felt wrong. The air inside was heavy, the light above the mirror buzzed unnaturally. As she washed her hands, she heard something, a slow, deep breath coming from the last stall. But when she checked, it was empty. She turned to leave, but her reflection didn't. It stared back for a second too long, then smiled. A classmate entered minutes later and found Atira standing still, her eyes wide, her mouth moving silently. When they touched her shoulder, she let out a shriek that made nearby teachers rush over. Her body convulsed. Her voice became guttural. She shouted in a dialect that didn't belong to her. Students froze in terror. Teachers held her down. And Atira screamed, "She wants me! She's behind you!" The hallway went cold. By lunchtime, the school was in chaos. More than 10 girls collapsed. Some fainted. Others wailed uncontrollably. A few tried to escape, claiming a faceless woman was chasing them. One student clawed at her own face. Another cried that someone was standing on the ceiling above her. The school bell rang, but no one moved. Fear had turned into paralysis. When Atira woke in the nurse's room, she couldn't speak. Her throat burned. Her arms were covered in scratch marks. She asked for her mirror. When she looked into it, she screamed again. "That's not my face," she said. Her mother came to take her home. That night, Atira had a dream. She was back in the toilet. The last stall opened slowly, and a hand reached out. The school called an ustaz and a traditional bomo. Students were gathered into the prayer hall. Verses were recited for hours. Holy water was sprinkled at every corridor. One teacher collapsed mid-prayer, shouting that something was hanging from the ceiling. The toilets were sealed with tape. But even after the rituals, Atira whispered, "She's still watching me." Local reporters swarmed the school. Articles labeled it mass hysteria, but students and teachers pushed back. "We all saw her," one girl said on video. Leaked clips showed students twitching, some screaming at nothing. One chilling video shows a door slamming shut repeatedly. Alone. No one nearby. In a quiet interview, Atira shared her deepest fear. "I don't think she's a ghost," she said. "I think she's something older. and she was waiting for someone like me. She recounted how, during her trance, she felt herself walking through a jungle of mirrors, and at the center, a woman with a hollow face held her hand. Doctors said it was trauma. Some called it a cultural phenomenon. But no one could explain why crosses flipped in student notebooks, why the same time, 10:32, kept showing on stopped watches, or why even students in different schools started seeing the same woman in white in their dreams. Exactly 1 week later, during a sunny Tuesday, it happened again. Atira was walking with friends when she suddenly stopped. Her eyes rolled back. Her voice changed. She muttered verses backward. And then she began to laugh, a guttural, inhuman laugh. She walked, slowly, stiffly, toward the same toilet. Students followed in horror. Inside, the lights flickered violently. A loud bang came from the last stall. When Atira turned to the mirror, it cracked. Not a hairline fracture, a single deliberate spiderweb pattern. And no one had touched it. The school was closed for cleansing. Parents pulled students out. One teacher resigned. The girls' toilet was permanently sealed. No plumbing work ever took place. A sign was put up, out of order. But the smell of burnt incense still lingers, and students still whisper about the laughter heard on quiet mornings. Today, Atira lives away from Kelantan. She's married. She's quiet. But in an anonymous online post, she wrote, "I don't keep mirrors in my room. I cover the bathroom mirror before sleep. And some nights, I hear her breathing beside me." Was it hysteria, spirit possession, or something darker? One thing is certain. Those who lived through the Pangkalan Chepa incident never forgot it. And sometimes the scariest ghosts aren't the ones we see, but the ones that choose us.